Everything's been hidden. Everything that you know is a lie. But I want to hit you with something that you can't run from.
I asked 50 about that. And he said you did the same thing to him. You asked him to take him shopping.
At Chris Knighty's wedding, he told me he'd take me shopping.
Yeah, I thought he needed some clothes.
I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You gonna make...
What? I'm a nice guy. Man, you doing it, man. You deserve it, daddy. You putting in that work.
Love you.
No, dude, you take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
Of the best and the brightest, we have to make sure that we're telling the truth.
With and who are these people? Do they violate you? Do you get robbed? What happens? Now you threw a house party and I got the footage.
And he knows better than be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
Brother right here from day one, we used to wake up and, pause, but like that's how. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying? Fight over the frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, what the fuck did Puff just say? Nobody's gonna acknowledge this but me. Puff just said we used to wrestle over the frosted flakes, and we're streaming live. That was stupid.
I go to those type of parties. You know, I'm straight. All me. Cool on me. Now, if you want to say I go there and it's a regular club with all the women and they happen to be there, it's possible we might run across each other.
First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shout out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, just let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not.
Hey, man.
The tea is exceptionally good today. Who made this? Very delicious. Hold on.
Hey, my cosmic cousins, it's your girl Nova Charm and welcome to another episode of Astrology Tea with Nova Charm. Now, y'all know typically I like to keep it cute, focused, and spiritual, honey. But on today's episode, I might get a little messy. I need to look and see. I have to look at some things and I want y'all to do this deep dive with me, okay? Now, for over the past year, we've been watching the news, we've been seeing the lawsuits, we've even seen the conviction and the documentary at this point, the whole 9 yards. We have seen it all play out, okay? But y'all already know, ain't no receipt like an astrological receipt because an astrological receipt don't miss, okay? And with that being said, we are stepping into that cosmic courtroom and delivering an expert level forensic report on the most powerful and problematic figures in entertainment, Sean P. Diddy Combs, okay? AKA the Diddler. Now, he's already been convicted. He's currently serving his time. But y'all, his jail time is only the appetizer, okay? The Cosmos has a main course scheduled for him in 2026. And baby, we are going to get into it. So if you haven't already, you make sure you go ahead and hit that like. Go ahead and subscribe to your girl. And make sure that you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of this cosmic tea that I want to sip with you. Now let's get into it. Now, baby, come 2026, the Cosmos are not playing with the Diddler, okay? And this energy is giving us a front row seat on what it looks like when an empire is dismantled brick by brick. We're just going to go ahead and call this Diddy's Cosmic Reckoning of 2026, okay? Now, first, of course, you know I got to break down his chart because we need to see how we even got here, okay? With his energy. And actually, I had checked his energy back when all of this had started, but of course, I didn't have my channel at that time, so I wasn't able to share this information with you. So I already knew his placements, but I'm going to go ahead and review them with you guys so you can know them too. So when it comes to Diddy's chart, his sun is in Scorpio and his Mercury is in Scorpio as well as his Neptune. He has a Virgo moon and a Virgo Pluto. His Venus, his Jupiter, and his Uranus all sit in Libra. Now, his Mars is in Capricorn, but with his Mars, it really stuck out to me because it's at the 29th degree. Child, that right there, okay, we're going to stick a pin in that and come back to that, but that right there is the monster in itself, okay? That's a bad motherfucker right there, okay? But we're going to stick a pin in it and we're going to come back to it. Now, his Saturn sits in Taurus. Now, it was retrograde at the time when he was born, and I'm pointing that out for a reason because, you know, of course, I'm going to get into it in a minute, but I'm saying that for a reason, okay? And his North Node is in Pisces, and that is also in retrograde. Okay, so those are his placements. Now let's review them and go through them because, yeah, that's one hell of a chart. Okay, now, of course, I did not have his rising sign. I was not sure about his time of birth. So we just gonna work with what we got. And y'all already know I do my thug thizzle. Okay, yeah, so we definitely going to put this together. Let's go ahead and get into that Scorpio energy, baby, because you know Scorpio energy loves a good secret. Okay. And that is definitely where his sun and his Mercury sit. This gives him this strategic covert type of operator energy. Like he's a genius at controlling the narrative. This man's mind was built for psychological warfare, period. So when I see those alleged blackmail allegations and threats, yeah, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Like all the stuff that I heard in the documentary after looking at his chart, it just made me just say, yeah. Like, I wasn't surprised. I agree completely. I believe it. Now, of course, all of this stuff is allegedly, but some of it's not because he already been convicted of it, you know? But listen, when you've been reading charts as long as I have, and you understand or understand energy, you can definitely tell, or you're able to see when somebody is literally walking into their most negative energy or they're walking in their most positive energy. And being negative does not mean that you're broke. Being positive does not mean that you're rich, okay? Stop associating good with rich. That's not how that works, okay? But yeah, that Sun, that Mercury, and even that Neptune is manipulative to the motherfucker, okay? This is the energy that gives him that intensity. This is where all the secrets lie. This is that strategic energy that everybody has been talking about and how he was able to gain and climb his way to the top. Now, wherever Scorpio is, of course, you got that Pluto energy. And this energy really thrives off of power. It also deals with a lot of obsession and possession. So this is how this man's mind works. And it's also linked to his ego. Now, with that moon and that Pluto both being in Virgo, that means his emotional security is tied up in perfectionism, order, and control over all the small details, honey. Now, with that Pluto influence also being linked to his moon, that gives a lot of need for order, a lot of obsessive behavior. And this is why he's rebranded himself so many times. I mean, he's went from Puffy to Sean P. Diddy Combs to Diddy to Diddler. Yeah, it just keeps going. But this obsessiveness is not just about his career. So when it comes to his relationships, it definitely plays a part, okay? The alleged abuse allegations, I mean, yeah, it definitely looks like it's in the chart. The accusations of people's phones being tapped and videos and different things like that and surveillance and all of that stuff, it really, yeah, his chart gives that, okay? It does. One thing about Virgo is Virgo energy loves a good receipt. Now, energy does not really care if it is good or bad and how it's getting used. You should care, but the energy itself does not really recognize whether things are good or bad. It just wants to get used, okay? Now, that Virgo moon definitely wanted to make sure that it had receipts on everyone and everything. With a moon like that, you could be incredibly strategic as well, and especially with the Scorpio Mercury. Like, this is manipulation at its finest. Like, if you see a chart like this, it is very powerful for a reason. But it has the ability to do such great things. But, you know, instead, yeah. And y'all know Cassie was a Virgo sun now. So, her sitting in his Pluto, yeah. I did look at their charts, and it was definitely destined for her to be the one to take him down. I mean, I could do a synastry chart if y'all want me to for them. You guys just gotta let me know in the comments, okay? But yeah, it was definitely destined for her to be the one to do what was needed. And speaking of which, let's get into those relationships for a bit. Now, I found it not so strange, but it was very interesting. The fact that most of his relationships has started because he's seen them with another man first. And it was almost like he had an admiration for the man that they were with. So being able to sexually lay with that woman after was almost like a ritual, I want to say. That's what it gives. It really does give that. Because, I mean, like, when you think about it, with his first baby mama, Misha, you know, with that whole situation with Eric Sermon. Then, of course, you have Kim when it came to I'll Be Sure. I mean, Cassie when it came to Ryan Leslie. They even saying that the one child that he has, the one daughter that he has, Chance, her mother was dating Tupac. Like, yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's a little weird. But like I said, when it comes to stuff like that, I'm not surprised. And since we're on the subject of relationships, let's go ahead and talk about these Libra placements, honey. Now, Libra is ruled by Venus, and his Venus is literally in Libra. This lets me know he understands exactly how relationships work, but his other placements just kind of overpower, I think, this energy right here. Now, the fact that Libra is also in Uranus for him really brings out that rival partner stealing energy for him, if you will. Not to mention that his Jupiter is involved, and Jupiter is definitely going to expand everything. When I see this, it just brings me to that whole rebranding that he tried to do with that Brother Love. And it just was like, no, it's not love what you're trying to do, but you know, whatever. But this is definitely that energy that brings that out, okay? Now, this energy married together definitely wants him to provide a beautiful public front, okay? It really does care about the perception. So with this type of placement, I know that by us all knowing his secrets, especially with those Scorpio placements, by us all knowing his secrets, yeah, this is really brutal for him. This is probably more brutal than being locked up, in the fact that everybody knows everything. But definitely that Scorpio and Libra dynamic together is like a big power move. This makes the energy of every relationship a conquest. Almost like you're conquering that partner. And it's like a symbolic absorption of that rival status or essence. You'll find that unhealed Scorpio energy really thinks that that is the move, okay? You see that in Drake. Drake is another Scorpio that's like that. But I haven't looked at all his placements in a while. I would have to review. But yeah, he's another one that has that type of energy on him where, you know, they just like to steal your girl, Mr. Steal Your Girl. But that Uranus in Libra also gives that sudden love and shocking changes within relationships. So there's definitely like a real instability there. And because he has all this conquer type of energy, it definitely does not stop when it comes to his relationships. His relationships are more like a conquest versus just falling in love with somebody naturally, you know? Now, one of his most vulnerable and consequential placements on his chart is that Saturn in Taurus that sits in retrograde, okay? Now, Saturn do not play with any of us. I don't care who you are, all right? That is the planet of debt and structure. And in Taurus, that fixed earth sign of money and assets, it will definitely come to collect, okay? Now, this placement actually creates a powerful fixation on a deep-seated fear around scarcity. This is where the hell his greed come from. This is why he don't want to pay nobody. With a retrograde energy, of course, this means that this fear is internalized. It's something that's deep down in him. This is where he gets that hoarding of resources and all this physical security. All those bad boy artists that gave us such good music, they gave us their creation, they gave us their art. Like, for artists, your creation is like your baby, you know, and they gave that to us and they let us enjoy it and they shared it with us. And to have them just be robbed for it is just completely insane to me. But when you have someone with placements like this, literally being the one to handle your contract, then this is what the result will be. Especially if they are moving through their lowest frequency available in their solar system, okay? But Daddy Saturn always comes out on top. Like, there's no way you're going to get away from doing any of the things that you did when it comes to Daddy Saturn, okay? So when it comes to that Saturn energy, trust me when I say that unpaid karmic debt will be, it will be getting filled in 2026 with these transits, okay? This is going to be a violent cosmic shakedown on Diddy's pockets, and we're going to see it, okay? But we're going to get to more of that in a minute. Let's hop over to this Mars, because this Mars in Capricorn at that 29th degree actually shooketh me, okay? It shooketh me. Mars energy is that assertive energy. It's how you go after things. It's also your fight. It's also your war. Now, with that being said, imagine all that energy just being maximized to the fullest, because that's exactly what he has. Capricorn is exalted in Mars, and it's at that fated 29th degree. Now, y'all know I talk about that 29th degree a lot on this channel. It's been coming up a lot, but he has that in his charts. That means his ambition is incredible. I'm almost positive this man studied the art of war. Like, y'all really thought Suge was the problem? But see, I always knew that. Because, like, first of all, I haven't looked at all of Suge's placements, but he is an Aries sun, okay? Aries suns don't mind showing you who the fuck they are, okay? They are very outright with it. Then you have Scorpio, which actually sits on the other side of Mars, because Scorpio used to be at Mars before it moved over to Pluto, right? And Scorpio like to sit in the dark. It like all its power moves to be in the background. It does not like to do its stuff up front. So you have one that just don't mind showing you that they're a wolf, and you have the other one that's a wolf in sheep's clothing. So which do you prefer? I say neither, but at least with the wolf that I'm seeing, I know exactly what I'm getting. You know what I'm saying? The wolf in sheep's clothing is the one that's going to try and trick you. It's devious, it's slithery, it's slimy. So I know there was some talk about people saying, well, Suge was the good guy after all. No, let's not be too hasty now. Suge was not the good guy either, but at least you knew exactly what you were getting with him. And most people prefer to know exactly what they're getting out of a person, okay? Now, with that being said, this placement right here just pushed that need for power over the edge, okay? Like, he already had that with all those Scorpio placements. Capricorn is that structure. It's that business mind. So he was going to get it by any means necessary, okay? So yes, his ambition basically was turned into calculated aggression, and definitely a ruthlessness that comes with Capricorn. Capricorn season is around the winter. I'm going to tell you, Capricorn and Aquarius definitely get the rap for being some of the coldest zodiac signs. And it's because their season is the winter. Okay. That's just how it goes. Okay. But this man definitely gave a ruthlessness when it came to his businesses. And this is where that came from. Okay. This is where that party promoter to A&R to owning your own record company, which is Bad Boy Records, kind of came from, to being like the main artist of that record company as well. Like, we're not going to sit up there and try to act like he wasn't all in them videos dancing like Suge said he was, okay? But nevertheless, that energy definitely gives a calculated extremism, okay? AKA, he takes shit too far, okay? He takes things too far. Mars is aggressive action and ambition. And by that Capricorn energy being exalted, that means that energy is disciplined, structured, and focused, okay? I mean, it definitely gives corporate. It definitely gives I achieve things. And it definitely gives that authority, and especially with those Scorpio placements, that enforces that power. But this can also lead to violence. Definitely can lead to violence. And that action is not impulsive. It's cold, it's measured, and it's very much a business decision. Okay? Now, of course, with that final degree, that 29th, that maxed out degree, because energy can't go no higher than 29 degrees, okay? And by the time it gets to the 29th degree, it's had enough, okay? It got to move on with its life to a whole nother energy, okay? A whole nother zodiac energy, all right? So that does nothing but intensify that planet's energy that brings about this make or break conclusions, okay? Now, we know Mars talks about that violence. And y'all know when I'm talking about all of this, what I am alluding to. Yes, what we all know, what some of us have all known to be true for a while in our minds, okay? Allegedly. I guess I should throw the allegedly on there. Okay. But when it comes to what happened with Pac and Biggie, okay? Now, we've been hearing Gene Deal tell us the tea on Diddy for a while. And we also knew that Keefe D had been singing like a bird for years, actually, and telling everybody that this is what happened. Hell, Eminem even threw it in a rhyme to let us all know that P. Diddy was behind what happened to Tupac. Allegedly. But I always knew it in my spirit. It's just based on how the story was going. And especially a year later when it happened with Biggie too. And then, let me tell y'all something, okay? If you ever want to know who's behind something, you just follow the trail of money. Always follow the trail of money and see who had the most to gain. And you could just about guarantee that that person has something to do with whatever happened. Especially if it's something that, you know, the milk wasn't clean in. And those were definitely situations where the milk just wasn't clean. It never made sense to me that Biggie would be out in LA after what happened with Pac. And I always believed Pac when he said he knew who, you know, shot him. He said he knew who did it. He talked about it. Like, I'm going to believe him, okay? I'm going to believe him. Now, that's what happened the first time. So, I mean, like, why wouldn't I think that that would be a second time to get him to shut up about it? I'm just saying. Allegedly. So let's dive into the criminology of this Mars real quick and see what we can look into this, okay? Now, in Mars' signature, it provides this forensic justification, okay, for the historical claim that he had allegedly paid $1 million to orchestrate that hit on Pac, right? To have your Mars maxed out like that, you would definitely go to extreme violence in order to preserve your power. Okay, allegedly. Pac was out here making hit after hit. He was laughing, he was dancing, and he was still thriving through it all, you know, and he was making a fool out of Puffy and Bad Boy, like he really was. And with Suge by his side, he definitely felt very much more powerful to be able to walk like that, because, you know, after that shit that happened at Quad Studio, you know, that definitely took a hit on him, okay? And we're not going to even get into what happened with Haitian Jack. It was just a lot. It was a lot going on in New York. And I believe that Puffy had a lot to do with that too. Like, there was a lot of jealousy involved. But you see with those Scorpio placements, there's no doubt that that man is just a very jealous type of man. Okay? So it doesn't surprise me. All of these, it doesn't surprise me. Now, with that Sun and Mercury, that has an absolute need for control. Okay, so we're talking about the core of who he is as well as his thought process. Now, this is rooted in secrecy, power, and psychological warfare. All right. So the idea that Tupac or even his dependent, which is Biggie, were aligning and they were friends and he could possibly lose Biggie. Pac could possibly give him the game because, you know, Biggie and Pac were friends initially. They started off being really supportive of one another. You know, Biggie came in the game after Pac. Pac was very supportive of Biggie, right? Pac just wasn't feeling Puffy, right? He just wasn't feeling this diddler, okay? Diddy's energy was always intimidated by Pac's, okay? And it was simply because Tupac's energy was not intimidated by his, okay? He's seen that as a direct challenge. Like, he always wants to come off as this powerful type of person. And if you encounter somebody who doesn't see you as that, you feel the need to want to humble them with the type of Mars that he has, okay? It automatically kicks into your Mars and you start to want to try and assert yourself, okay? Now, rumor has it that Biggie was planning on leaving and getting his own, you know, he was leaving and he was going to take Junior Mafia with him and he was going to have his own, you know, either record company or, you know, he was just basically not going to be doing things through Bad Boy. Now, with someone with those type of placements that he has, and especially with the Virgo moon, that is extremely calculated and precise, I'm sure he probably felt like there was some type of unloyalty behind that because he felt like Biggie should have been more loyal to him. Like, he feels like people should just allow them to just use them. You know, he basically just feels like he should be able to use people, right? And do whatever he wants with them if he gives you a certain amount of thing. Like, it's like doing the deal with the devil. Like, He is looking and he is watching every single little detail. And that Scorpio energy is definitely going to see certain things as well. And it's going to take it and it's going to run with it. And it's going to turn into some type of vengeful energy because of the fact that it now sees you as not loyal. Now, Scorpio energy really needs you to be loyal. Almost loyal to a fault. Okay? So if he felt for any type of reason whatsoever that Biggie wasn't going to be loyal to him, or that he was going to be moving along and he was no longer going to be getting in his hands in the pot after he was the one who put you on, or he felt like he was the one who put you on, yeah, okay, it's going to be a problem. Tupac, being the type of artist that he was very independent, you know, as far as what he was able to do. And he really would have been able to give Biggie the game. And of course, you know, that nigga going to see that as a threat. He don't want Biggie to really know the game. You know what I'm saying? Because he want to be able to eat off this man. Okay? So with the claims of the jealousy over Tupac and Biggie's friendship, it definitely aligns with his scorpionic energy. Like really wanting that absolute control and that possession type of energy over his inner circle and his assets, which Biggie is considered to be an asset, right? That whole situation was about dominance. It was a power play, allegedly. So, based on his charts, do I think he did it? Hell, without the charts, I thought he did it. But, like I said, it's just allegedly. I'm definitely interested in looking at his 2026 as far as that karmic debt. So let's go ahead and look and dive deeper into that now. Now, any unresolved energy definitely will get rolled over into your karmic debt, okay? Now, with that being said, there is an unresolved nature of these homicides, supposedly, quote unquote, as well as the karmic debt. Now, this is all stuff that kind of lingers in his chart. Now, we didn't even get into Kim and her death because I always felt like there was something not clean in the water when it comes to that. Hell, we could add Heavy D to that at this point. Hell, Andre Harrell, he died of what? An ammonia? Like, I'm not trusting any of these deaths at this point. You feel me? I feel like the man has a graveyard under his belt. I really do. I really do. But the universe is definitely keeping score. And he's going to pay his debt, okay? Now, the universe does not move when we say move, or it does not do or clear the debt the way that we want it to. It does it the way that it's supposed to do it. Now, with that being said, we're going to look into this. Now, in 2026, it does give an energy of some final justices in some sense. Okay, so there's like this historical shadow that's like lingering in his chart, right? Now, there is a fixed T-square in Pluto, and this is sitting at 4 degrees. Now, this is Aquarius square Saturn, 4 degrees, and this deals with his Taurus retrograde. Now, you know, whenever Saturn comes in the building, you know what it came to do. It came to collect its debt, all right? And especially with that Taurus energy there, it's going to collect what it came for. Now, if there is going to be any legal developments in 2026, this would likely be around the time when that happens, when he has this fixed T-square, right? Now, with that Aquarius transiting that Pluto area, it actually compels there to be exposure of those secrets. And it is going to be related to calculated violence. It does look like there is a certain collapse in that 12th rim, like the 12th house rim of secrets and enemies, okay? Now, that Pluto and Saturn combination is going to definitely force a structural collapse, right? And this is going to be surrounded by his foundation of his money. Like, when you look at your Saturn placement, it'll tell you where you basically reap your karma. Okay, you reap your karma through your Saturn. It tells you how it comes about in your chart, in the area that it comes about. You know what I'm saying? And by his being in Taurus and in retrograde, and that fear for scarcity, it's going to be like his worst fears coming to life for him. Okay, so basically the empire that was built on blood has to be destroyed. It has to be broken down brick by brick. Okay. Now, in addition, Uranus will be sextile with Saturn. And this is when it's at 4 degrees in Gemini. Now, this is going to bring in a sudden shock next year, okay? Now, and Gemini is about communication. It's about witnesses and documents, okay? This screams a key witness, okay? And this is somebody who's going to provide undeniable, shocking evidence, okay? Now, this is also going to be major documents leaked, you know? Child, when Uranus comes in the room, because now I keep telling y'all, this is where Aquarius's home is, and it's associated with Saturn. So whenever Uranus come in the building, prepare for your wig to get snatched back, okay? Now, when Uranus steps into Gemini next year, she's coming in with a lot of receipts, okay? And like I said, this is going to be moving and grooving hands in hand with his Saturn next year, okay? Now, another placement that is actually holding hands with Saturn, sextile Saturn, next year in his chart would be that Neptune, and that's in 4 degrees. Now, if you've already been paying attention and been watching my videos, then you already know that Aries will be, you know, making its rounds in Neptune next year, okay? Now, when this happens, yeah, his Neptune and his Saturn will be running hand in hand, okay? Now, this is definitely going to give the energy of the disillusion of boundaries. Now, this removes any final protective fog over his public image. Like, we no longer look at him the same. We already don't look at him the same, okay? But next year, whatever happens or whatever shocking thing comes out, definitely just put the final nail in the coffin. Like, it really just sort of solidifies it, okay? And this will ultimately lead to, you know, the permanent loss of that legacy and the legitimacy of his businesses. All I know is you could be as bad of a boy as you want to be, but Saturn is always going to be better. And she's going to show us how the fuck bad she is next year in 2026 when it comes to this old diddler here. And we're going to be able to see it, you know, live and in person. So y'all just have y'all popcorn and keep enjoying this tea that I'm giving y'all. Now, you already know what it is, Cosmic Cousins. If you made it this far through this video, go ahead and hit that like. Go ahead and subscribe to your girl. And make sure that you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of this cosmic tea that I love to sip with you. I am out, Cosmic Cousins.